Welcome, guys. So, today we are going to discuss table spaces. We are talking about Oracle database, and in Oracle database, we are talking about the table spaces. So, table spaces, what are the table spaces we are talking about? So, the database, the whole Oracle database, that is divided into one or more logical storage units. And it means these are logical. You won't see table spaces physically over the disk. Okay, so the logical storage units are called table spaces. These storage units are further divided into segments, extents, and uh, data blocks. Um, and the table spaces are physically divided into data files. We manage the table spaces using data files. Okay, so we have table spaces, segments, extents, and the data block. Data block is the smallest unit of Oracle of storage in Oracle database. Okay, so table spaces logically organize the data which is physically stores in the data files. You see, the physical storage is handled by data files, and logically we manage the storage in table spaces, segments, extents, and data blocks. A tablespace can have at least one or more data files. It means minimum one data file we need to have with a tablespace. If we create a tablespace, we must specify a data file in it, and if that data file is consumed much space, or if we want, we can have one or more data files in that table spaces. Okay, so basically we have three types of table spaces. The first is permanent table space. These are used to store the permanent data, like the data for our database, the table data, and the indexes. These are permanent. We need not to uh, change that. Do not change randomly or by its own. We, if we need to change it, we need to issue some command. So this is permanent data. So this data type is stored. This data is stored in permanent table spaces, and the undo tablespace. It is used to store undo data. This data is used for read consistency for select statements and rollback a transaction. If a rollback transaction is required, then it stores the data for that transaction. So the data which is for a transaction and used for undo a statement, that data is stored in these tablespace. And third one is temporary tablespace. This is used to store your temp data, like when you're running a query. This stores the rows for various sorts and joins operation. Two tables are joined. You're running a big query, so for that execution of the script, you need a big space where the query is running within the execution time. So that is stored in temporary table space. So this is the logical structure of table space, segments, extents, data blocks, you see, and this is physical, like table space is divided physically here. We can have uh, data file 1, data file 2, data file 3. These are inside one table space. Okay, so where are we? So we have talked about logical structure of the database, and physically the table space is divided into data files. Okay, so there are some default table spaces. When you install Oracle, you'll see these table spaces. The system table space. This is to used by Oracle server to manage their database. Like for Oracle operations, this system table space is used. It contains data dictionary tables, and that contains the administrative info about the DB. The data dictionary tables. These are used for administrative get the administrative info of your DB Oracle database. You cannot rename or drop a system table space or cannot make it offline. Okay, so you can store user data in system table space as well. Like if you do not define any table space for a user, so that data can also be stored in this system table space, but it is not recommended. So there's another default table space like system aux. This is system auxiliary, we can call it. So this is an auxiliary, like supporting table space to the system table space. This same earlier it was from was not there with Oracle, but after 10G, this system auxiliary, this is mandatory. This is you'll get this when you install Oracle. This is supporting for this system that table space, and uh, it has the same properties for just like system table space. Like you cannot rename or drop this table space, or you cannot make it offline. Okay, so these both are quite same. So third one is temporary table space. We already talked about it. Like this stores the temporary data while sorting operations, merge operations, or data while creating an index. So this temporary table space, this the size of this temporary table space should be large enough to handle big queries. Okay, so by default we have temporary table space with the name temp, but we can create temp other temporary table spaces as well, like temp 1 2 3 or anything else. We can mention that table space as temporary table used for temporary table space, and we can use it in our queries. So the fourth one is undo tbs one. So this is used to store the undo data, as we have already talked about. The fifth one is users table space. This is used to store all the data for the users. Like for users, Oracle is a user based. So what user creates, what a user for user tables, users operations, all the data is stored in this. If you do not mention the table space while creation of that table, and then all the data related to the table is stored in this table space, users table space. Okay. And this is the last one, example. This is contains all the sample schemas when you create the database. If you do not create those sample schemas, then this table space won't be created. So this is, and you can call it optional. So these are default table spaces. By default, all the table spaces are online, but you can make them offline, and you can you can make it offline for these purposes. Maybe if you want to make them offline you can do, but that can be for these purposes only. For taking a offline table backup, recover an individual table space or a particular data file, move a data file to another location without closing the whole database. So uh, you can do these things by making a table space offline. When a table space is offline, you cannot read or write anything for that table space. Here are some data dictionary views provided by Oracle. These are stored in system tablespace. I already told you earlier. These are data dictionary views are stored in system tablespace. So here we have DBA tablespaces. This will tell you all the things about how uh, what are the tablespaces we have in our database. DBA data files. This will tell you all the data files of the database. DBA free space, this will tell you the free space for a table space, free space of a data file, like what is how much file how much space is left free in that file. DBA segment, this will tell you about the segments of the what are the how many segments does that the table space have. DBA table temp free space. This will tell you the free space available in the data files. Temporary table space. This is called, as the name mentioned, db temp free space. So this will tell you the free space in temporary table space. So here are some scripts. Let's like how to create a table space. There are four ways you can once like if you have created a table space, you have uh, created your database, and after some time it's get the table space size is getting full, and you want to create you have to add some data into the table space into your database. So how you do it? You can do it in four ways. Create a new table space. You can create a new table space. Earlier it was maybe TBS or anything with the name. You can create one more table space to the database. The another method is add a data file to an existing table space. Like if we have a default table space users, you can add one more data file to it. Increase the size of an existing data file. We have data files on the physical level. You can increase the size of it. We can call it as resize and data file. Resize a data file. Or you can use this also auto extend feature. You can use it. Auto extend is equal to on. This is for dynamic growth of the file. We can discuss it further in our lab and in our next slides as well. So first let's talk about creating a new table space. So the creating a new table space is very much simple. The script is create table space, the table space name. We mention the data file. Like I already told you, for a table space, one data file is mandatory, and you can have one or more data file in a table space. So create table space tbs2 data file, the location of the data file. This is the data file, data 07 db dpf. This is data file extension. You can name it anything, data 07, data 01, or user, anything you can name it. But the should be mentioned with this creation creation of table space. And the size of this data file is 10 M. We can define it early. When we are creating a data file, we need to mention the size of the data file. Once this size is full, we need to add one another data file or resize the data file. And the third option is using auto extend feature for this data file, so that this once this size is full, that we'll discuss this later. Okay, so we already discussed creating a new table space. Now let's see add a data file to an existing table. So for adding a data file, this is the script. Alter table space. We are adding the data file to our existing table space tbs1. Add data file. You see what we have in here? Create table space. So now we are using alter table space. Alter table space tbs1. Add data file. The location of the data file. The name we are naming it as user 01. You can name it anything, but you need to know that what you are using, if that is existing already or not. At the same location, you need to take care of that thing. I'll tell you in our lab how to get all the data files, how to check if a table space has one or two data file or any. So alter table space tbs1, add data file size 10M. This is just adding a new data file. We have used this second feature. The second, create a new table space, add a data file. So these two are done. Now increase the size of an existing file, resizing the data file. Here it is, resizing an existing file. So this is very simple, but it is uh, you need to take care of this thing. You are not using altered table space here. You are using altered database. Okay, so altered database and the data file which you are going to resize. This is the data file we have created earlier, or maybe anything. The data file name, the location of the data file, and you are using resize 15 m. Earlier we have created 10 m. Now we are creating 50, we are changing the size 15 m. So we have used the third function as well, increase the size of an existing file. So but it's very difficult for a DBA to check every time, and if there is a big load on the table, and we are inserting uh, much data all the time, so it's very you're not going every day in the database and adding a data file. So how to overcome that situation? You'll use this function, auto extend on. This is for dynamic growth of the data file. Like if the size 10 m is exhausted, this feature will add some more space to the data file. And if that space is exhausted, then another some data after some time, after that it will add some more space. So how to add it? I'll tell you. This is the script for dynamic growth of the data file. So here we are the same thing like we have used with the adding a data file in this table space, but here we are using this alter table space, add data file size 10 m. This is just like the simple adding a data file. The magic starts from here. Auto, we need to use auto extend is equal to on. Okay, auto extend on. Next on next 512k, like after 10 m, if the size is uh, after 10 m, if 10 m is exhausted, the next space, memory space allotted to this table space is this data file is 512k, and the max size of this data file is 20 m. Like after 10 m, when some data is required, 512k is allocate to this, will be allocated to this data file. Then this 512k is exhausted, then again 512k, then again 512k, till 20 m, 20 MB. We can, m is MB here, k is KB. Okay, so till the max size we need to take care of this thing, because we do not want all the space of the database can is consumed by our data file. So we need to be sure that this is large enough to handle the data file and not consuming all the database. So we need to take care of these parameters. Auto extend on. Next, we can if our data files or database is large, we can use next 10 m, next 15 m, anything. Okay, the max size can be 2 GB as well. Okay, so that depends on your database. So thanks, and let's go to the our lab. Okay, so let's go to the lab. Let me connect to the database first. Okay, I'm using Oracle 19c. So now let's see but how we see what are the tables, and who is the owner, what are the table spaces. You can query all tables, DB tables, and users, well, user tables, and then depends on your access. So all tables is fine. If you are DBA, you can query. Oh, this is not in the correct form. Let me, oh, not here, going here. I'm using this to get the output in proper form. I have mentioned that in my previous videos as well, but I'll tell you again. If in if you're using command prompt, the Oracle output will not be in proper format. So you need to use this set line size, the columns you want to extract in the this format column, the column name, and the format A30, A10, A15, A25, depending on the column size. Okay, so I have used A30. You see, the output is fine now. So you see, all our owner is sys. We haven't created any other user or other owner of the table spaces. This is the table, but the owner is sys. Sales table, the owner is sys. If that is not mentioned, table space name, it's not like this is default table spaces we have in here. So how to get, what are the data files? You see, you can query this as well, where the we have queried table name, where table space name is users, the table we have talked about this in default table spaces, and the owner is sys. Owner we can query anything, like if you want to get a particular user's table space and user that. So we can also check the data dictionary table space, data dictionary views, to query the database and get the results of our requirement. Okay, so these are the all the table spaces we'll have in our database. I have created, these are the default table spaces: system aux, undo tbs1, temporary users. These are the default, and these are the table spaces I have created: tbs1, temp1, temp2, tbs2, tbs3, temp3. These are temporary table spaces, and these are uh, user kit. Like I have created these tbs1, tbs2, tbs3 for my purpose, for the dummy. Okay, so you can create as many table spaces as per your requirement and assign to particular users. Also, if you want to check the data files associated to a table space, you can query dba data files. This is also a data dictionary view. Okay, you see. Okay, I'll get this correct, incorrect format. You see, I'm using, if you can, if you want, you can query this first. Let me tell you how I get this, but you already knew maybe, but let me tell you. We can use this data dictionary view to see file name, file ID, table space name, bytes, blocks, status, auto extensible, that the feature auto extensible on, auto extend on or not, max bytes allocated, max blocks incremented by user bytes. These are the columns we are querying here. So let's do this first. We are now going to query dba data files, what to see what are the data files we have in the database. So this, you see, we have 11 data files. These are for system purpose, like system 01, system aux, undo tbs 01b. This is created by me maybe, or user 01, user 01c. This is again I have created another data 01. This is this disease data files belongs to tbs 1234 123. These are user created, and you also see here auto extensible is on for system tables and default tables. And for user created tables, we can make it yes or no. We can auto extend that feature for a data file or not. It depends on us. If we do not want this feature, we can say no. If we do not mention it, that's no. If we mention it, then that will be yes. Uh, how to create a data file, I'll tell you in our lab as well. Okay, so max size is 0. Like, we haven't mentioned the auto extensible and max size, so max size is mentioning 0. And consumed 10, it's or the bytes of this. Like, first we created the data file, the bytes for the initial bytes for which we have created it is 10. Okay, 10, 10, 10, 5. You see, there are two files. One file has consumed 10 and one file has consumed 5. We have created the same way. Like, we have created once as our demand, as our need. We can create anything, data file with our need. Okay, so now we are going to query another data dictionary view, dbf free space. Oh, my mistake. See, these are the free space. Like, you'll get all these much files as this is system specific. Like, you'll all the time when you have that is uh, dbf free space, where table space we can query a particular table space as well with dbf free space. You see, for users tables there are two data files, and free space is 2.25 MB. We have converted the bytes to MB. So in users database, one file and the 2.25 MB is free, and in another file we have 9. These are the files. These are the space left with one of the files. Like, we have created so many files with the table spaces, so this will tell you that. Okay, so again, all data files. Here we are getting all data files. Okay, let's see. Let's query it. We have already got this earlier. The file name, table space name, for which for one table space we can see there are more than one file. We can have more than one file with a table space. TBS2 has three files, you see, and auto extensible is on for one. Max size is defined for one, not for two. So we can create that by as of per our requirement. This is the temporary table space. We'll discuss the temporary logic of temporary table space in some another video, but today we are just talking about like temporary table space for required for our temporary l- scripts and memory space used by our temporary indexes or uh, joins for the script. So temporary table space, we have four temporary spaces here. I have This is the default temporary table space. I have created these three to just to show you. So size is 396, the default one, and I have created the temporary table spaces of 10 MB. Allocated space is 1010 for this one. 9 is left, and this has consumed 6. This has free space 6. This has free space 5. This has free space of 9. This is just uh, one. It has consumed like table space size, table space name, table space size, table space size, allocated to this temporary table space, free space left in the database. So these are the data dictionary tables you can query to check what are the data files you have for a database and how you see it. Okay, so this is the script to create a new table space. Let's see what are the table spaces we have right now. Let's say we have TBS1, TBS2, TBS3. These are the temp. We're not talking about that as well. TBS1, 2, 3 here we have. Okay, so now we are creating a TBS4. The location of the data file size 10 MB, or we are using auto extend feature on. After 10 MB is consumed, 512 next 512K is assigned, and then the max size is 20 M. So let's see how we create this table space created. Oh, and again, if you query the same, see TBS4 here, we have one more table space here. This is created by us just now. The default block size is 8192, but we can change it as well. For this TBS3, I have changed the block size. We can mention the block size while creating the table space. Okay, so but the default block size is 8192. We'll discuss that in later videos. Okay, so we have created the table space. So how we create a table and define a table space to it? So this is the command, create table, and I'm checking the tables. Let's create the table created with this table space. So and all the data for this table will go to TBS4 table space. So this is how you mention the table space to a table. This is the same like adding a data file to a table space. We have just created a TBS4. If we mention TBS4 here, and we can mention data all 01. Okay, so let's first see what do we have for this table space. Let's query it first. Deviate table spaces, where table space name TBS4. Okay, so let's query this. No, this one as well. Let me collect them and then I'll show you. We'll query this one as well. And table spaces. Also, we'll query this thing as well. Okay, so now, oh, okay, I have created a new. Let's go. Okay, okay, so let's first check this TBS 4. Okay, let's check this. DBA data files, finishing, no files. Do not have any. Okay. Let's first query DBA table spaces. So TBS 4 is here. Table space name TBS 4. Oh, okay, okay. We made a mistake. We haven't put the. So this is the table for this table space. Earlier we got no rows in here because we have mentioned small. So this is the thing you need to know in Oracle. If you are using your script, if you're writing script, you can use small letters. But if you are referring an object in the database, you need to use capital letters like here. Sys. If you use small letters in here, it will give you 0 rows. Okay, so that's very much important. TBS 4. If I run it now, see, we have this data file associated to this table space. And if you want to see if a particular table space has how much uh, tables in it, so we can query all tables and mentioning the table space name. So this is how you query the database with for these data dictionary views. WA data files. Also we can check this one TBS 4 we have made already. Let's see this one. If see, all the space is available for this, and we have auto extensible is on for this. All consume like what we have um, defined for this one. Max size is 20. So this is also you are getting in here now. Again, you can need to use TBS 4. Okay, what we are querying here, DBA free space. So free space is all we have. Like we haven't uh, mm, put any data in this table space. So all the all the table space allocated to this is free right now. So this is how you work with table spaces, add the data files in a particular database, table space, and uh, using this auto extend on, this is very much required and important feature right these days. This is how you can uh, allocate a table space when you're creating a table. So this is all the things you can uh, work on while working with Oracle database. This is very much important topic. Handling table spaces uh, very much required, and so by you can work more with these data dictionary views and more with table spaces to practice. So thank you, and let's talk in another video. Thank you.